Welcome to Americana Country Interview. I'm your host, Jay Preston. Interview features chats with artists you hear weekly on our show, Americana Country, now heard on 5 outlets in Kentucky and Tennessee and streaming worldwide on your favorite streaming services. Today, we welcome the Nashville Pieholes. How you guys doing?
Hey.
We're doing great, Jay. Thank you.
Thanks for having us. We appreciate
Great. Well,
it.
hey, listen, I've been playing your album ever since I got it. Actually, some cuts before I got it off of Spotify, and love the album. We'll get to that here in just a few minutes. First of all, I wanted to ask you guys, you didn't start out in Nashville. You're from the Great White North, as they say. Whereabouts in Canada are you guys from, and how was the journey to Nashville? How did that come about?
Well, I'm from Toronto. Nettie's from about 40 minutes east of Toronto. And I moved to Nashville in Halloween night 92 to open up the publishing division for Canadian icon Anne Murray. And that led to a whole series of adventures that found me leaving there and going to work for legendary songwriter Kim Williams. It was the year I went to work for him in 94. He was ASCAP Country Writer of the Year. So that was an amazing door opener. Yeah. For me as a song plugger on Music Row.
Yeah. Well, I failed to mention who we're speaking to today. The Nashville Pieholes are made up of 5 musicians. And, of course, it's Max on the left and Annette on the right. And you guys both singer-songwriters and both Canadians. And Annette, you also Canadian. And I guess you don't have an Anne Murray story, do you?
No, but I love Anne Murray.
Yeah.
I read her book. Her book's awesome, by the way.
Yeah.
No, I'm from Canada too, Ontario, east, just about 30 minutes east of Toronto. And then I moved to Alberta, Calgary in 92. Mm-hmm. And then I moved here in 2001.
Mm-hmm. Well, Annette, who were some of your early influences growing up?
Oh, everybody was pretty much raised on country and bluegrass. Mm-hmm. You know, my dad's a musician, and so we listened to a lot of Dolly and Porter and Loretta and Conway and Merle and the whole bit. And then my dad got into bluegrass, quite heavily, and he still is. He still plays bluegrass. Yeah. So I went to many bluegrass festivals. So everyone and anyone in bluegrass, that's who we listened to. Yeah. And then of course in high school there was everything from Kenny Rogers right up to hard rock. So yeah.
How about you, Max? Who were some of your early influences?
Well, I grew up in a household as a kid. My parents bought the Beatles records the week of release, and we always had the Mamas and the Papas and Gordon Lightfoot. Those were major staples growing up. And then of course, I got into all the hard rock stuff, Alice Cooper, Deep Purple, Black Sabbath, and the prog stuff, King Crimson, Emerson, Lake and Palmer, and all that. But my dad was a country freak, so he would always play the Merle records and the Johnny Cash records. Yeah. But that was pretty much my only exposure to country on a regular basis until I went to work for Anne Murray in about 1990. And then all of a sudden it was like I was thrown into the country world. So I had to educate myself very quickly. Yeah. But it was a good gig because I made sure I had a budget to go buy current country product. So I would just go down to the big record store in Toronto, Sam the Record Man, and load up on all the current titles. And so I got a quick crash course education and, Sammy Kershaw and Mark Chestnut, all the sort of the great early 90s country artists.
Yeah. Well, you guys all came together, and you're described. The Nashville Pieholes are described as retro, twangy, country, punk, hillbilly, kind of Stonesy and bluesy. So, from your early influences, I hear a little bit of all of that. How did you guys finally get after you're in Nashville? How did you guys finally find each other? All of your 5 guys in the band.
Well, Nettie had always been a songwriter, so we originally formed the group just as a vehicle for Nettie's songs because, she was trying to pitch her stuff, and then is it okay if I tell the story?
Sure.
And anyway, Nettie ran into Amanda Williams, daughter of Kim Williams, And Amanda said, Nettie, you need to be the salesman because you're going to be your own best salesperson. Rather than just getting demo singers to sing your songs, you need to sing them and go out and sell them. So we formed the Pieholes just as Nettie and me, just as a two-piece, just a guitar and a snare drum, just to go out and have a vehicle to sing some of her songs. And our first set was 3 songs long. So if we wanted to play longer, we just had to repeat our repertoire.
Our first gig was our neighbors had it was Night Out Against Crime, and so Pete and Betty Horton, who we just love, they're just great, music fans. So they said, "Well, come and play on our porch." So we did, and it was just Max and I. I'm on guitar, he's on drum, and we just had the 3 songs because that's all we had rehearsed. So we just played them over and over in different order. That was way back when, a long time ago.
So
instead of a house concert, you had a porch concert.
That's exactly right.
Yeah,
it's exactly right. And then a little later on, another guy from Toronto, Howie Moskovich, joined us as the guitar player. And Howie I had known of him since the 80s, but I never actually met him until well into the 2000s. It was just one of those things. But he's a virtuoso guitar player, and we brought him on, and so it kind of gave us a musical pedigree that Nettie and I by ourselves didn't have, because Howie is such an advanced musician.
He's our secret weapon.
Right.
you always need to bring out the secret weapons when needed.
Yeah.
Well, you guys got together, had a bunch of tunes ready, at more than 3, I'm imagining. And in 2014, you released the EP "Give Me Twang." Tell us about that first trip to the studios.
Well, it was actually done. We cut most of the tracks at our friend Ed Blatch's house, and all the other stuff was just done at home on a computer. Yeah,
it's so easy these days, isn't it?
It is. The barrier to entry has never been less expensive.
Yeah. Yeah. And Annette, are you or Nettie, as Max is calling you, and you do go by Nettie to your friends? I'm
Yep.
And Nettie, when you're singing or when you're sitting down and you're writing a tune these days, you're in Nashville, known as a co-writer's town. Do you still do solo writing? Or you and Max write together, or do you like co-writing or still solo writing?
All of the above.
Really?
Yeah, all of the above.
It is mostly co-writing, though, and I'm on some of the songs, but the only common denominator on all our material is that Nettie is a writer on every single song.
Yeah.
Well, except one coming up.
Except one.
We got one song that we're going to cut, and it was written by Jan Buckingham and Mark
Nessler?
Sellers, I think it is. So it's a co-write, but we didn't write it. And it's going to be on our new album. But that's
It's going to be our first cover song because we love the song so much, and we love Jan.
Yeah. Well, hey, John probably even covered a few by somebody else. So,
sure.
It's not unusual. It's not unusual. Well, 2016 gave us another EP from the Nashville Pieholes, Neon Boneyard. Tell us about that session.
Same thing. We cut the basic tracks. We cut at our friend Ed Blatch's house, where he's got a Pro Tools rig. And then we just get all the tracks back to our place and, and put on the overdubs as needed and mix it and master it here.
Yeah. And Max, I hear you had a neighbor that we might know of these days. He originally was the front man for a band called The Ranch, which I had their cassette when they first. Yeah. That's right, kids, cassettes back when they first came out, and loved the band. And believe it or not, I was an audio engineer, and they were throwing out that cassette. I took it, stuck it in my car, listened to it. I said, "Hey, these guys are pretty damn good." But but anyway, Keith Urban, you were neighbors with Keith Urban for a while, huh?
That's right. When I first moved here, one night I was talking to a friend of mine from Toronto who was down here, and she called me and said, "Hey, Max, I'm out here with all the girls from EMI Canada, and we're hanging out with a bunch of Aussies. Do you want to join us?" And I didn't know anybody, so I went, "Yeah, sure." So I showed up, and one of the Aussies was Greg Shaw, who was Keith Urban's manager at the time.
Yeah.
And he said, "Hey, hey, Max, do you have any contacts at Fanfare? I want to get backstage." I said, "Yeah, I'm a song plugger. All the song pluggers get backstage passes." Sure. So I arranged for some passes for Greg and Keith, and immediately became their best friend. Yeah. And that led to Greg Shaw was a real mover and shaker, and he was the guy that brought Keith to America.
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of people don't know this, but he was originally signed to Warner Brothers, and the Ranch record was originally financed by Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
Sort of under the direction of Bob Saporiti, who was Warner's international guy. And when they finished the record, Bob said, well, I'm ready to go. I got everything I need. And the rest of the label was going, kind of scratching their head going, well, we're not really sure that we get this. Yeah. And to his credit, Scott Hendricks at Capitol said, well, I get it. And if you guys don't want it, I'll buy it. Capitol will buy it from you, for X amount of money and a point override. And Warner said, pass me the Pontius Pilate finger bowl. We're washing our hands of it. Good luck, Capitol. And the rest is history.
Yeah, as they say, the rest is history. So did you have a lot of fun probably jamming with the Ranch in those days, Max?
I did, because at one point, Peter Clark, Keith's drummer, had to go back to Australia for some, I think for some immigration reasons. So I moved my drums over to Keith's basement, and we played Kiss songs, and it was great because he knew all the parts.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he taped it on cassette too, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. I
jam sessions.
I have a couple of recorded sessions where Keith and I would just jam for a few minutes, and then he would overdub a bass, and then we'd overdub like a gigantic crowd from Madison Square Garden going, at the dramatic points in the music.
I have his t-shirt, or his shirt, Keith's shirt. It was, for some reason, I moved into the house, Max's house, which was next door to Keith's, but Keith had moved on by this time. And I was cleaning the house, and I found a shirt, like a men's shirt, a small one. Yeah. But it was kind of a brown color. So I said, I'm just going to wash it up. So I put it in some hot, soapy, bleachy water, and it turned to this really beautiful pink, purple color. And I said, oh, it's pretty now, so I'll wear it. Well, one day I looked in the lapel at the bottom, and it had K Urban in Sharpie marker. And I'm like, Max, this is Keith's shirt. He goes, yeah, probably left it here or something. So I'm like, oh my God, I'm Keith Urban shirt. So I gave it to my friend, who is a huge Keith Urban fan. So yeah, she has Keith's shirt now.
There you go.
Just back to that. Sorry.
I was going to say, did it come out pink in the wash?
Yes. Yeah.
I was just going to say on the Ranch record, I actually landed a cut on there for the writer I was working for at the time, and it's the song "Just Some Love" by Cheryl Roston and Scott Phelps. And that was a pitch where that was back in the day where you could just drop a cassette in somebody's mailbox, which is what I did. And then, Greg Shaw called me and said, hey, we're going to cut that song. It was that easy.
Nice. Yeah, it was a little easier back in the old days. Hey, well, you guys are currently working on some new tracks, and I believe a new album is coming out. When can we expect that?
Sometime within the next year. Mm-hmm. We're buckling down and really starting to apply ourselves. And just this week, we're cutting vocals and reviewing them and going, oh, maybe we should change this. We're tweaking them.
Right.
So, but we have 10 or 12 songs, so the songs are ready to go. We're just putting the tracks down and doing all the finessing that goes with putting them together. Right.
Well, I see you guys plugging away on Facebook some of the new material, so I can't wait to hear the full arrangements of all of that. Are you guys doing the same as earlier? The early. Is this going to be a full album like
yes.
Show Me the Pie is?
Yeah. Yes. It'll be 10 songs. Right. And, part of what we're doing is we've been recording a lot of live gigs, and now with stem separation technology, we can actually extract good bits from the live shows. So some of the live guitars and things will make their way into the studio recordings.
Right, nice. I knew some people did that. I didn't know that was a Nashville thing yet.
Well, Frank Zappa was actually doing it for like decades ago.
Zappa was doing a lot of things decades ago that are just now coming around. Well, the Nashville Pieholes not only working on a new album, new tunes that might be out next year. I also hear you might be doing a tour in the Great White North next year.
Yes, we have signed the contract, and we're going on it's a 2-week. We'll be gone for 2 weeks, but we're playing 5 shows, but it's every other day. It's in Music City, Manitoba, which is in St. Laurent, Manitoba. Mm-hmm. It's a beach. It's basically a vacation destination. So they have, not only do they have music shows at night for the people that stay there, but they have activities for the daytime as well, and a beach. So you can either stay on the premise there or at a hotel in Winnipeg. So we're going to be playing 5 shows, June 18th, 20, 22, 24, 26, 2026. So it'll be a year from now.
Right.
And we're going on the bus with the Music City Hayride crew, putting us up there and going to play the shows. And it's kind of like Branson.
Yeah.
So, but it's brand new. It's brand new. And they've got so the first 10 days is going to be the Music City, Manitoba, the Great Barn Dance. So, and we're going to be part of that.
Well, you mentioned Branson. Have you ever been to Branson, Missouri?
No, never.
You know, my wife and I have not either. And somehow we got a free week vacation, and they let us. That was one of the spots that says, "Hey, I know it's just like Gatlinburg, or here it is. Let's go." Say we've been there, done that kind of thing, and so we're going next month. And
cool.
We'll see. No, that's this month. This June. Okay, we're going in June, so a couple of weeks from now. But anyway, it'll be an interesting situation. I don't know if anybody that I know will be playing in any of the clubs, but it'll be an experience, right?
Oh, it should be fun.
Yeah, let us know how it goes.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure, like I said, it's probably a lot like Pigeon Forge and Gatlinburg is in East Tennessee. Well, you guys have got the album coming out. You got the Canadian tour coming out. Who's going to be opening up for you, or do you have an opening act yet?
We're actually going to be on the bill with a whole lot of other acts.
There's 8 per night. So we go on at 9 o'clock. It's going to be a 90-minute set.
Yeah.
So every other night we play for 90 minutes at 9 o'clock.
And who are some of the other bands that you guys will be playing with, or some of the other artists?
Well, we know the Mudmen will be playing. We really like them. I'm not really sure.
Eliza Doyle, she's a friend of ours. She's playing too as well. The Music City Hayride band is going to be the backup band for a lot of the Canadian, or a lot of the some Nashville artists here. I think Tina White, Diane Barry, Ron Lamour. There's a bunch. If you go to the website, musiccitymanitoba.com, it'll tell you who's playing what night.
Okay.
But, it'll be good. And then they have other acts later on in that year that'll be all styles of music, all styles.
Yeah.
So but they want to keep the cost down for tickets so people can afford to have entertainment.
Sure.
And they can come to them and stay because they have, the food, they have activities during the day for people to do. And then at night they have the shows. So.
Well, you guys are living here in Nashville now, or close to Nashville anyway. And you do some gigs in and around town. I missed the only one that I knew of a couple of weeks back. It was in a little place in Dixon, and I had I think 2 or 3 things going that particular day. But one of my friends is also, I think, a mutual friend, Jamie Kindly's side.
Yeah.
And of course, we're playing his album out too, and he provides our instrumental show theme for our Americana Country show. But anyway, I was just wanting to know, did you guys play? You played the same date, I think he did, didn't you?
Yeah. Typically, Jamie and Susie and Waylon have a show. They play a little bit earlier than we do typically.
Yeah.
But we're always on the same with them at Yesterday's Treasures Today in Dixon.
Yeah. Well, Jamie's got to get back, so he can take a nap. He's got, as they say in the musicians world, he's got a real job too.
Yeah. No, we love Dixon. Dixon's great. If you've not been to Dixon, go to Yesterday's Treasures Today. They're just fabulous. We were
in there. My wife and I and another couple were in there a week after they played, and of course went through. And I love antiques and junk shops and what have you. So I was in heaven when I was in there and talked to the manager a few minutes, and I said, "Where do they do the music?" And she showed me the back, the back area. And I said, "Hey, Jamie was just, we love Jamie." And I said, "The Nashville Pieholes." She said, "Oh, we love those guys. They're good. They're good." So you guys have fans there, and I'm sure they welcome you back anytime. Hey, listen, Annette, what's on your turntable right now? Who are you admiring that's out there right now?
Oh gosh, I'm listening to the radio mostly, but I just picked up
probably Americana Country, right?
Yes, Americana Country, anything country, Americana, WMOT, all of them.
Right.
I just got Michael Reynolds' new album, Tarnished Nickel Sky. He was the Pin Monkey. He was the lead singer for Pin Monkey, and I've always loved Pin Monkey. I thought they were just one of the best bands. Well, out on his own now. So that's been playing. And then my friend Joyce Grennan, she's got some really good material, especially her. She has an inspirational album and it's beautiful. So I love listening to that.
Yeah.
I listen to just anything from, Roseanne Cash to Lucinda Williams to Dolly. I mean, Emmylou, of course, Emmylou, she's my number one favorite artist of all time. So,
well, I noticed a Dolly picture in the background back there. So I knew you must be a Dolly fan. How about you, Max? Who do you see out there, or who are you listening to right now?
I often just jump on Spotify and just let it go randomly, and I find all kinds of great artists that way.
Yeah,
especially who's that guy who sounds like Johnny Cash?
Gary West.
Gary West, he's fantastic. We really like him these days.
Yeah.
Okay, nice. I don't think I've heard of Gary West. So you said those are some of the people you admire. Now let me put you on the spot. Do you have a turntable?
No, good. No, we haven't for a long time.
We have a CD player.
Well, my question normally is, who is on the turntable right now? So I'm assuming it's the people you were talking to. Are you talking about?
Yeah. Michael Reynolds. I got Michael Reynolds in my CD player.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still a huge fan of Mark Chestnut. I mean, he hasn't even had a major label deal for years, but we went to see him the other year, and it was he just played hit after hit after hit. We were just going, oh yeah, this one. Oh man, I remember this one.
Yeah,
it was amazing.
Yeah.
And a lot of those '90s guys, they really hold up. I really love Sammy Kershaw still.
Yeah, he's been around, like you said, forever, and in my opinion, sounds as good as he ever has.
Yeah,
puts on a great show too. Saw him at the Ryman opening for someone. I can't remember who it was. It wasn't a very good mix. He was opening for like a pop band or something, but I was thinking, kind of like Jimi Hendrix opening for the Monkees back in the day.
Right.
It didn't seem right, but he just it just didn't seem right, but he put on a great show. And speaking of bad combinations, when I was a kid, my first concert I went to, my teacher took 3 of us to see Diana Ross and the Supremes.
Wow.
And this was in Murfreesboro at MTSU.
Wow.
But now you got to remember, in my taste, it's kind of like you guys. It's kind of all over the place. I was into Cream and the Beatles and Jimi Hendrix. So the opening act for Diana Ross and the Supremes was the Spencer Davis Group. And a 16-year-old Stevie Winwood.
Oh, God, yes.
Playing the B3 organ and doing the vocals. So I came away from that concert, just blown away by a Spencer Davis Group. And I was thinking the Supremes, they were okay. But anyway, that's just my little side story. Hey, listen, loving the album. Can't say enough about it.
Thanks,
it's just really a great album. And there it is.
There it is.
Yeah,
and I'll put this on post too. But the Nashville Pieholes, we've been playing quite a few of the 10 cuts, over half of them anyway. And tell me a little bit about Elvis Chocolate and Cigarettes, Annette.
Oh, that was actually a song I wrote many, many, many years ago.
Definitely the oldest one on the record.
It was basically a New Year's Eve thing, you have your resolutions. And what's going on here? So I belonged to a songwriter group back in Calgary, and we decided to do like a New Year's resolution thing. And I'm sorry, I don't see you now. So that's basically it. Like, okay, what's your New Year's resolution? So, and then it turned into, a relationship song.
Right.
So, and it developed because it kept developing over time to the point where I finally got it where I wanted.
Yeah, we had tried a pop version, and I'd done a dance remix on it,
a country version,
and
did you have a disco version?
Well, close. The dance version had some disco-y elements, but it kept mutating until we kind of found the groove for it. But it took a bunch of tries.
Yeah. Well, some of the other tunes we're playing off of Show Me the Pie is The Economy of Love. Of course, the Elvis Chocolate and Cigarettes. What's Wrong with the Drinking Song? Love that one. In fact, I think I just played that one this past week. Walmart Heart, Tequila, Tobacco, and Beer, and Pills and Prayers. Tell me a little bit about, I think Tequila, Tobacco, and Beer. It's Tobacco and tobacco
yeah.
and beer, like we say it here in Tennessee. And speaking of how we say it in Tennessee, I saw in your bio that both being from Canada, you have to sometimes listen a little bit and throw in a little of that Southern colloquialism or the slang or the terms that we use here, and give us some examples. Probably we don't notice it.
Nettie and I, having grown up with Canadian English, it's like coming down here at first, it's a real culture shock.
Sure.
Just hearing some of the expressions, but we both found we really grew to love so many of the Southern expressions because they're so earthy and so funny. So that in all our songs now, we try to have and they're songs, so they're largely made up, even though they're might be based on a kernel of something real. But we try to have at least one or two lines of authentic language down here, like something that we heard when we were in a Crystals or something. There's something that we overheard. It's like, whoa, write that down. Like authentic language. We just love that. And that's where we get ideas for songs like "Fixin' to Start," because that's not something that any Canadian would say, but everyone down here says "fixin'."
Fixin' to start.
So we just love the Southern colloquialism.
And you want to be authentic, so you have to. We really. I especially listening to conversations, or I work with a lot of people, so I picked up some of their Southernisms.
The twang.
My friend Anne, the twang. Yeah. She's just. She is all about the sayings. Like wild than a rodeo goat. Like write that down. And another one was the Pills and Prayers. Elderly lady came into the office and Anne said, "How you doing today, Ms. Ruth?" And she said, "Oh, honey, I'm just living on pills and prayers." So I'm like, "Ooh, let me write that one down."
Write that down quick. Write it down before I forget it. Yeah. Well, of course, if you've lived here long enough, the expression "bless your heart" can be said and meant about 3 or 4 different ways.
Yes.
And one of my next door neighbors who went with us to Dixon to the antique store says this all the time: "Country as a biscuit." So, and I had to, living in Kentucky for a few years, I had to add cat head biscuit, country as a cat head biscuit. And that's just a gigantic biscuit,
Or a buttermilk biscuit.
That's right. Hey, listen, guys, I appreciate it. Annette, thank you so much. Max, thank you so much. Tell the other guys in the band that we appreciate it. And going to be playing this a lot more and be looking forward to the next gig you guys are going to have very, very soon.
We appreciate you. Thank you, Jay.
Yes, Thanks for playing us. Stand by for more material.
Thanks. I'll be looking for that new album. Hey, you've been watching Americana Country Interview. I'm Jay Preston. We'll see you next time.